Hey yo everybody, welcome back to another guide brought to you by your friend Lestion. Today we're diving into the latest syndicate menace to hit the battlefield, Vivian. Grab your snacks and let's jump straight into it. Vivian is a range of tank fighter mainly focused on countering replica units and providing crowd control. She has decent attack and HP. And at first glance, she seems designed to slow down matches against domino comps while also acting as a pivot unit that prepares the field for stun combos, abilities that only affect damaged units and more. Abilities. Ability 1. On her own attack or at the start of an enemy replica's attack, stuns the target and 2 random adjacent enemies. Remember how Bonita almost perfectly countered countercomps and indirect damage units? Well, Vivian is meant to be the nemesis of replicas, and more specifically, domino comps. And honestly, it was about time. Vivian has 2 ways to stun enemies. One is specifically directed at replicas at the start of their attack, and the other happens when she attacks, allowing her to stun up to 3 enemies. Now, here's an important detail. The wording says at the start of attack, not before attack. For example, Mitsuki's first ability says attacks, so she cannot summon a copy, because she will get stunned before her ability can trigger. On the other hand, Zoe and Chloe's third ability says start of attack, so their effect will trigger before they get a stun. So yeah, wording matters here.
Funny enough, Vivian is not only a counter of Domino, but Hunter too, cause Hunter dogs are replica. And most of Hunter Camp's uses act as partisans also, and they are also replica. So Vivian can cause some havoc on the battlefield against her.
Ability 2. On enemy stun deals 74 damage at max level to random adjacent enemies 7 times. At first glance, this doesn't look like a very strong ability, but this is what I like to call a pivot ability. Its main purpose is not necessarily to kill enemies, but to set up the battlefield for combos that require enemies to be wounded or to finish off units that survive a previous brawl with very low HP. But remember something important, it says on enemy stun. That means multiple stuns in the same turn will trigger this ability again and again, and suddenly the damage becomes very considerable. Also note that this ability only affects enemies adjacent to the stunned target, so technically this skill can be avoided by simply placing units far away from each other. But when it works, it sets up enemy units perfectly wounded, so abilities like Gia's skill switch can clean them up instantly. This ability reaches its maximum damage value at Reborn 7. But honestly, that's not a huge deal, since it's mainly a pivot ability. Having it at any level will still do the job just fine. Ability 3. End of turn applies antidote to self and buffs own HP for 404 at max level for each stun enemy alive and every stun enemy who died this turn. Basically, if you try to debuff Vivienne, she can cleanse herself at the end of the turn. This is a great counter mechanic against attack reduction units which could otherwise stop Vivian for attacking and keep her from triggering her stuns. And believe me, if the conditions are met, the HP gain gets really high, really fast. This ability reaches its maximum value at Reborn 6, and it's a huge jump between Reborn 5 and 6, going from 248 HP to 404 HP. That's almost double the value. So, for competitive play, you should aim to have Vivian at least at Reborn 6. For mid tier leagues, the bare minimum will be Reborn 4. Outfit ability. On spawn suppresses 6 random enemies with force shield and 6 random enemies with resistance. To be honest, this ability caught me off guard at first, but it's actually a great addition for Vivienne when countering replicas, especially Reaper drums. And of course, it also helps against shield units, which are one of Vivian's natural counters. Now, regarding resistant units, there are some exceptions like Tora and Bonita since they are immune to suppression, or if enemy units are protected by Dragana's or Elaine's model effect. So in practice, the most common use of this ability will be against river drones and shield units, since about, let's say, 95% of the players run Lola in their squads. It's not a game changing ability, but it's a nice just in case tool to have. Combos. Basically, she can fit in any combat squad as she is a counter to replicas and a pivot unit. Some best synergies in commanders will be Annabelle, Verena, Gia, and Elaine, but you can also use her with Inferna to add one extra counter for Domino Comp or Alexa maybe. Annabelle, her stuns will trigger Annabelle's abilities like crazy, letting you control the battlefield almost perfectly against replica users and very effectively against other comps as well. And once you unlock Vivian's outfit, you'll get even more triggers thanks to her suppression effect. Verena. I mean, you already know Verena's abilities are stun based, so she naturally pairs really well with Vivian's kit. Wanda. You might think about using Wanda since she also has a stun ability, but the synergy here is very small, which is I don't really recommend her as a main commander for Vivian. Gia, as mentioned earlier, Vivian's second ability helps wound enemies, making it much easier for Gia to trigger her kill switch ability, a very strong combo. Lane, she provides a lot of survivability for Vivian. At the same time, Vivian's pivot ability helps wound enemies more easily, which makes it simpler to trigger Elaine's second ability. For example, it's very useful when trying to injure Ravana's model or break through shields in non-Marcella comps. Alexa also has some synergy with her configuration skills if you want to eliminate enemies more easily. She also provides extra survivability through her block stims. Inferno works very well alongside Vivian, especially against replica domino comps, while also improving Vivian's survivability. Then we have stun-based units of course, being Pixie as the best synergy for obvious reasons. They both complement each other really well. Charlotte will provide additional stun triggers and also help Vivian gain more HP thanks to Charlotte's third ability. Morana without Firan works amazingly well because her AoE stun will trigger Vivian's damage skill for every enemy stunned with it. A similar concept applies to Lorraine and Arachne, although their stun conditions are more restrictive. Omega and Nicole also have a strong synergy despite their conditional stuns. Configuration units: Morana, Lola, Wendy, and Belle without Firon, Alexa and also her Cyberdogs. These units leaves enemies low enough in HP so that Vivian's damage ability can easily finish them off. Bloom is a perfect example of how Vivian's damage skill pairs well with other damage trigger abilities against replicas. When both abilities start triggering, it basically turns into a fireworks show. Grace has a similar synergy, since she also has a chain damage ability, making it easier to secure the kills she needs to start her combo. Corbin can also work well in certain scenarios, especially against Domino replica comps, because Vivian will gain a huge amount of HP really fast, which Corbin can convert into massive damage through his first ability.
Survivability units like Bonita, Cinta, Tora will keep your Vivian alive long enough. Bonita is especially good in an lane scum, especially to survive against Domino's second high damage ability.
Multi-attack units. Since Vivian's stun only affects adjacent units, sometimes you'll need multiple attacks to spread the stuns properly. So you can pair her with Victoria, Faye, or Sarah if you want. Counters. Even though Vivian is extremely strong against replicas, she still has several dangerous counters. Lola is probably her main nemesis, since she can drastically reduce Vivian's HP, making it easy for other damage sources to finish her off. Same will happen with Morana and her Rexa configuration skills, but in a less effective way. And of course, suppression units will also do the job.
Obviously, transform abilities will also counter Vivian, unless you have some way to block it, like with Elaine's spot ability.
Marcella's shield cams are another problem, since Marcella benefits from damage triggers and Vivian generates a lot of them. Celia, with or without her outfit, has more than enough damage to reach Vivian in the backline and eliminate her. Elaine is another big problem, since her model completely nullifies Vivian's stuns. High damage ability units like Vespina or Kiana can also remove her quickly. Asha and blind units can stop Vivian from triggering her stuns when she attacks. 16's outfit ability can delete her early in the match, when Vivian's HP is still very low. Relationship stats. As for her relationship stats, we can see that at GM League she will earn plus 116 attack and HP at level 20. And between levels 21 and 30, her second and third ability receive additional upgrades. At level 29, her second skill gains plus 70 extra damage, increasing its base damage to 144. Since the attack hits 7 times, this can reach 1008 total distributed damage per stun. At level 30, her third ability gains an extra plus 90 HP buff, raising the maximum value to 494 HP per trigger. Any level of these extra values will make a difference. For example, if you keep Vivian at Reborn 5, reaching relationship level 25 will make the damage of her second ability equivalent to a Reborn 7 version. Androids. Best android synergy will be Marion, of course. She constantly heals Vivian, and since Vivian accumulates huge amounts of HP, Marion's turn 6 active ability will deal massive damage. Milica also synergizes well with Vivian's damage ability, since Milica's passive requires wounded enemies to trigger. And Cleo will constantly heal allies for each stun enemy, a really good addition to a stun killing comp with Synta. Final thoughts. Vivian obviously belongs to the anti-meta tier. Her kit is a complete nightmare for Domino replica comps, and since Domino is still being used, having her in your roster is never a bad idea. That said, she also has quite a few weaknesses, so be careful when and where you summon her. Always check the enemy composition first so you know what you're dealing with. If you face an lane, well, you'll need to remove her model first before Vivian can really do her job. Overall thought, Vivian is an extremely strong unit, and remember the meta changes fast so you never know when you'll need a stun machine on your side. Comps. Remember, I'm just giving an example of comps. You can make your own variations. So, Annabelle comp. Vivian, Score, Pixie, Omega, Charlotte, Morana without Feron, Corbin, and 2 utility units of your choice. Can be Bloom, Tora, Cinta, Casey, Vespina, Bonita, Grace, and anyone you want. Then we have a Verena comp, similar to Annabelle's comp but with a higher presence of healing units. So, Vivian, Pixie, Omega, Morana with outfit on, Corbin, Wendy with outfit on, Cinta with outfit on, and Tora Bonita or Kaya. And last but not least, we can have an Elaine comp, which contains Vivian, Morana with outfit on, Tora, Lola, Sky, Cinta Score, and the last two units can have many variations, so Alicia, Vespina, Naomi, Casey, Pixie, Omega, I don't know, whatever you want. It will honestly depend in who you face. That's it for today's video. Now you know exactly why Vivian is basically the professional police for Replica players. If your opponent was planning to spam domino copies all match long, well, surprise! The stun machine has arrived. So test some comps, experiment with the synergies we talk about today, and most importantly, go out there and make some domino players regret their life choices. And if the video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe and share it with that one friend who still thinks replicas are balanced. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Bye!